Hey, thanks for stopping by at Twisted Art Designs. Today I'm going to work on a paper doll collaboration. I've done one before for this Etsy store, and the Etsy store is called Download Queen Studio, and I will have a link in the description box below for Corinne's store and for the link to these beautiful paper dolls. So she sent these to me. She's in Australia. And the owner of the shop's name is Corinne. She's super sweet, and look at this adorable paper doll. So she sits on a mushroom, and this is Madame Butterfly, and then the second part of it is this one, and all these cute little butterflies. And so I've got some great ideas for a way that I want to create this and use it on an art journal page. So let's get started and have some fun and see what I can create. So the first thing I did was I printed this just from my inkjet printer onto 120-pound really nice sturdy cardstock. And obviously the next step is going to be to fussy cut out all these little pieces and parts. So I won't do that on camera to save some time. So I'm going to start this in my Ranger Delusions large journal, and one of my ideas for this, since this cute Madame Butterfly is on a mushroom and it comes with an adorable little Zentangle doodled mushroom, I think I want to do a mushroom theme. So what I did was I went to my closet, and I keep my pattern paper scraps in great big large Ziploc bags. I hang them on hooks on the clothing bar in the closet, in my craft room closet, so I can flip through and look for scraps. So I'm going to do some scrap busting today, and I'm going to show you how to make some adorable mushroom houses to go in the background. So grab your crazy scrapbooking, pattern papered, textured pieces of paper scraps, and let's do some scrap busting and make some adorable mushroom houses that we can use with this beautiful paper doll. So this is a pretty big journal, and this one, I think, you know, when it's put together is going to be about this big with the wings out, so I'll have to put one image on each page, which is fine. It'll be perfect. And then I know that that leaves me only space for a couple mushrooms, so I'm kind of figuring maybe one about this size. I'd like a big one in the middle here, and maybe another one that is partially that size. So what I'm going to do is measure those out so I know how big. About 9 inches, 5 inches, and maybe 7. So 9, 7, and 5. And that's just going to give me an idea of how big I want to make my mushrooms. The mushroom in this has red in it, so I think I'm going to use some red on one of them, so then I have color that ties in. I like my colors to kind of coordinate on pages. So I've got this nifty red paper that is textured. It's some handmade paper that I got in a kit a while back, and look at that nifty texture. So that would make a gorgeous mushroom cap. So I'm going to use that on one, and then I need to figure out what I want on the bottom. So maybe I'll do some green on the bottom, possibly. This looks kind of nifty. So you want to find a piece that you're going to use for your mushroom top and a piece that you're going to use for the bottom. I'm going to use that for a top. I'm kind of just digging through and seeing what I've got. I think that would make a really cute one, so let's go with that. So that's going to be one mushroom. And I like this green texture-y stuff. You don't have to use texture, but I like it. You could also run cardstock through embossing folders and make some textured stuff for your mushroom caps if you want that, but just regular paper works great too. Let's do something funky for the bottom of that green one. You know what? Even this stripe with green would be nifty. That would be an adorable mushroom, so let's do that. And one more. So let's do a blue one. Here's a neat scrap that's got some swirls. That would be super cute on a mushroom somehow. So let's choose that one. And for the bottom, let's do something wild and crazy for the bottom like that. And then you're going to need things, other little pieces too, for doors and windows, because of course our little mushroom houses have to have doors and windows. So pick out some unusual things to use for doors and windows. It can be stripes, it could be patterns, just all kinds of stuff. So pick out your papers for your mushrooms, however many you're going to do on your page, and then I'll show you how to make them. The easiest way to make these is to use a piece of paper and to kind of sketch them out first to make yourself a little template for cutting out your pattern paper. So I know that my tall one is going to be kind of a skinny mushroom, so I'm going to draw just kind of a skinny mushroom top, and just watch how easy it is to draw a mushroom. I mean, you really don't have to put too terribly much thought into it. There's the top of the mushroom, and then the bottom of the mushroom is going to be like this, and I'm going to kind of make it bigger at the bottom because it's going to be a mushroom house. They're all going to be houses, and I wanted to do about 9 inches, so that'll be about right. So this is going to be my middle one, and then I'll show you how to make the under part of the mushroom after we cut these out. So we're going to cut those out of some pattern paper, and now I'm going to make the other 2 mushrooms. And it's fun to vary it up. So I need one that's 5 inches and one that's 7. They could probably go on this same page. Let's see, this is 8.5. So I'm going to turn it this way, and then maybe I can get them both on one page. But I'm going to kind of mark on here. I need one that's a total of 7 inches and one that's 5. So I'm going to kind of use those as my references because I want my mushrooms to be all different heights. Okay, so for this one, I think I'm going to make the top of it more round so that they're different, and kind of just make it like this. So it's just a half circle and then rounded at the bottom. Anybody can draw that. That's pretty easy. And then the base of it is going to be fatter, I think. So I'm going to come out like this and make it more kind of a stumpy mushroom like this. So just draw kind of a fun shape. And then this one, let's see, what can we do? I like the shape of that other top, so let's do another one kind of like that, but maybe like this, so it's in a little bit, so it's different. So it almost looks like a smile upside down. That's going to be my mushroom top. And then let's make this one skinny at the top and then fat at the bottom and kind of crooked like that. Okay, I like that. So I'm going to use these as my templates, cut them out, and then cut out pattern paper to create the mushrooms. What you do is cut that out. Now you have a template. You can put it over your pattern paper. You can either draw a line around it and cut it out, or you can just put it down, hold on to it with your finger, and don't move it, and carefully cut it out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, these are mushrooms, so they're something that grow in nature. They don't have to be perfect at all. Look how easy peasy. I didn't even have to draw a line. Okay, look at that cute mushroom top. Love it. So cut out all your pieces. And I like to save all these little pieces in a little envelope and just write that these are mushroom templates, because you might want to make some of these to stick in a junk journal or to use as a bookmark or for something else. So save your little pieces and keep them for mushroom templates. Here's what my 3 look like. And this is what they look like when you put the little tops on them. And this is a great start to my little mushroom forest. So what I like to do next is, again, you're going to use these little pieces too to make doors and windows and things. But the first thing I like to do is to take some Distress ink. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress ink in Vintage Photo, but you could use whatever you want. Or if you don't have this and you have some brown shoe polish and a little soft brush, that works awesome too. I'm just grabbing this because it was right at hand. And I like to go around all the edges and just dirty up and distress all the edges of all these pieces that you just cut out. Like that. So I'm going to go around and distress all these edges. I just think they look so much nicer when you do that distressing. Look how it makes it look more woodsy and vintagey. So what I'm going to do next is to just glue that little top into place with just a little bit of art glitter glue. You can use whatever glue you'd like. I like art glitter glue, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to tip that top a little bit instead of having it be straight. But it doesn't matter, they can be straight or tipped. Vary them up, and this is your time to shine and be super creative and make these mushrooms wild and crazy and fun. Now what I like to do is make that little bit behind. So I'm going to take this scrap. This is left over from this cool wild paper. I love this paper. And you put it behind. Oh, look at even those leaves. That works out perfect to make a nice back for this. Ooh, cute. So cute. Didn't plan that, but it worked out really cool. And I'm going to just draw a pencil line from here, the tip, around like that. And then just cut that piece out. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one to distress that edge. And now this is the fun part about making these cute little mushrooms, is this is where you can let your mixed media go to town. You can decorate these by splattering them with paint. Use your ink sprays and spray them. Drip some drips down them. Glue some things to them, like instead of put some little dots on it with some sequins, use paint to make dots. Use a hole punch and punch out holes to make little dots on that mushroom cap. Sew on some beads. Do whatever you want to really jazz these up and make them as fun and interesting and wild as you want them to be. So now I'm going to just take this and put it behind, kind of line it up where it's going to go. And then glue it into place. And look how cute that is. That is just adorable. So I'm going to glue that into place. The next thing I like to do is to take this to my sewing machine and do some stitching on it with some sewing. So I'm going to sew around the base, maybe around the top, see whatever I like to do. And I like to do that before I glue on the doors and windows. You don't have to do that. You could even take a little pen and make stitch marks with a pen if you want it to look stitched. But I'll show you what it looks like with some sewing on it when I come back. Here's what it looks like stitched on a sewing machine. Super cute, just gives it some character. And now what you want to do is just pick out some fun and funky pattern papers to make doors and windows. Since that's already striped, I'll use something else in a different color maybe. That'd be kind of cute for a door. And what I do for that is to just set down the material, the paper, and then just jot down a little door so you know about what size to make it. And then cut it out. And again, use your creativity. Just go crazy and make some really cute ones. Once you start doing this, you are going to have so much fun, and you are going to want to make more of these because they are just so stinking cute. So I'm going to distress around that, glue it into place. I'm going to cut out some windows. So that would be a cute door. Let's do a circle for windows. This would be really cute for a window. Why not use a hole punch? That makes it super easy. I like this checkered because I can do kind of a crisscross in the window like that. That's super cute. So punch that out. Look at that for a window on my mushroom house. Super cute. So play around, see what you can create, and I'm going to decorate these 3 mushrooms make them wild and crazy. I cut out the butterfly fairy that is the Madame Butterfly that's going to sit on a mushroom, and I used a pen, a brush pen, to go around the edges to get rid of the white edges like I always do. And now I'm going to assemble her based on the picture. So I think the first thing that I should do probably is to put the smaller lower wings underneath, the big wings on top, and I'm going to I think I'm going to just put one brad through all of the wings and then through the body, and then I'm gonna put the rest of the pieces into place on the mushroom. The wings have a spot that indicates where to poke your hole, so I'm using a paper piercer and just poking the hole where the dots are. If you can see that little dot, that's where you poke your hole, and then you're going to put your brad through. And then there's a dot on the body right here to poke the hole on the body. So I think what I'm going to do is I want the wings to be coming out from behind, so the brad's going to go through the body first, her body, and then the wings. So since I want the top wings on the top, I'm kind of fanning them out like you would cards, and then you're going to put this brad through each one, through the holes like that, and then spread my little brad out, and then fan out those wings. That's pretty cute. That looks pretty cute. And I think because I'm putting this in my art journal, I'm not going to use brads to make her legs move. I like her sitting on the mushroom, and I wouldn't have any reason to have her legs be movable. So her wings are movable. I'm going to just glue these pieces together, the arms and the legs, and assemble her like it shows in the picture, and then glue her to the mushroom. And I think before I do that, I might put a little piece of tulle underneath this dress just for some fun and interest, so I'll show what that looks like. I just took a little piece of tulle, hope you can see that on camera, and shredded the bottom, and then I kind of just folded it up a little bit. I'm going to put some Scotch tape across it like this to hold it together, and then over the top like that, and fold it, and that'll give me something to glue to her. And I'm going to put that behind her skirt, and then that's going to give this nice little ethereal look underneath the skirt. So here's what that looks like. I just glued that behind, and now I'm going to take the legs. I glued them into the position I want them in, and I'm going to glue that behind the tulle like that. It looks really cute and ethereal. Glue those legs into place. And I used a little clamp to just clamp that into place until the glue dries. So I've got her arms and legs in place, and I'm just holding them with a clamp to let them dry. And before I put her head on, I'm taking some black wire. I don't know the gauge. I know that'll be a question somebody will ask, but I don't know. It's just black craft wire. And I'm going to make some cute little antennas for her head. So I'm going to just cut a piece of wire, and I'm going to fold it in half to make a bend, and then I'm just going to take some long needle nose pliers and go up here to the tops and just kind of do a little wire curly to make the little ends of her antennas. I'm just kind of shaping it and bending it with my hands, but see, I'm making a little wire spiral at each end of that wire. So here's what she looks like all glued together and put together, sitting on her little mushroom. It's super cute. And what I'm going to do to these wings is just jazz them up with some decoration. I'm going to use a Posca fine point gold pen to go over this beautiful filigree design, and on these little dots here I'm going to glue on some little flat back gems and just make her a little jazzed up, maybe give her a little bit of a glossy lip with some glossy accents, and then we'll move on to the next step. And this was the image that she had put onto the kit for showing what it looks like put together. If you put her together, like I said, I glued her to the mushroom and I glued her limbs in place instead of using brads because I had her sitting on the mushroom. She really didn't need to be movable. If you weren't going to sit her on the mushroom, then you could put the little brads in her arms and her legs and make her movable. Have her standing on the mushroom with a leg kicked up and her arms straight out. You could move her around, but I didn't make her that way. I made her permanent and glued her into place. But this little example is so cute too that I think I'm going to cut that out and put it on a tag and put it in a gardening journal that I have, because it's just a really cute image to play with. So I'm going to use that in another way. I'm going to use some of the butterflies from this second sheet. I'm going to cut her out and put her together, which will be really easy. These butterflies that are the same, I want to cut out some sets of those. I'm not going to use all of them, I don't think, but I'm going to cut out some sets. And then I'm going to make them three-dimensional on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them out, get rid of the white edges, and then show them how I'm going to put them on my art journal page. Here's the other one cut out and put together. She has places marked for the brads, and I'm going to make the same wire antennas and repeat it on this one and then decorate this one. So here are my mushroom houses. The two Madame Butterfly paper dolls put together, and I did put the same little antenna at the top of this one, and the wings move. So I just trimmed it out and put it together. And I'm going to decorate those. And then this is the example, and I think that's darling, and it makes another cute little one that could go on the page too, just as a smaller third one. And then I'm cutting out the sets of butterflies to put together to put on the page. And then I wanted to say a very heartfelt thank you to Tammy. She sent me a 400-piece ephemera pack from my Amazon wish list as a thank you for my classes online, and I just want to say thank you so much. So I picked out some of the ephemera that had mushrooms, and I'm going to incorporate that in this page also. Here's some of the decoration I did on my little mushrooms. Here's the door, and I stitched around it, and a little window with shutters that I drew, and I put the under part on each one and put a little handle on the door and hinges. And this one I took some white gesso and I blobbed it on with my finger on that rough texture just to make some little dots like mushrooms have. And then the little shadows, cast shadows, are just from a charcoal pencil. I just went underneath on one side of them and gave them a cast shadow. I cut with an X-Acto knife and I made a little chimney. So on my page there's going to be a little bit of smoke coming out. This one has a door that I stitched around and put some little doorknobs on and a cute little window. So those are my mushrooms houses that are going to go on the page. So now let's put this all aside and start working on the page. So I have another video where I show how to do a background, the ombre style, where you go light to dark graduated or dark to light, either way. And on this one, on this 2-page spread, I'm going to do that ombre effect, but I'm going to do it light in the middle, graduating out to dark. And I either like to use a baby wipe or a sponge. And this time I'm going to use a sponge. I like to just spritz it and dampen it. I even mist spritz my page just to get that little moisture going. And it's pretty easy. It's just the same as doing light to dark from the top to the bottom of the page, but you're just kind of going in a circular motion. And I'm going to start in the middle like this and work my way out. And then I'm adding the next shade that's just a touch darker. And I'm not even cleaning my sponge. I'm just continuing it on because it's all going to get blended together anyway, so remnants on my sponge doesn't matter. You always start with a light and then work to dark. If you start with a dark, it's really hard to blend into the light, so light you can blend out to dark much, much easier. So what you do is just continue to add those colors a little bit darker, and if you don't have a bunch of different paints, then you can just take that one light blue and just keep adding like one little hint of black to it. So add just a drop of black, or just a hint of black, because you don't want to go too much, a little bit at a time, until you get the desired shade that you want, darker to darker to darker. So as you add each layer, you'd add another drop of black, just a drop. And you want to mix it well into your paint before you put it on your page. But that's only if you have only one shade of blue to work with, light blue. I've got a lot of different brands of acrylic paint, and I'm mixing them all, doesn't matter. Acrylic is acrylic. So I'm just kind of reaching in the bucket and grabbing out what I think is the next darkest color. And again, I just misted the page because I just think that really helps with the blending. And if you're worried about getting it underneath, then put your little plastic or something behind. Yeah, that's making it exactly the way I had it in my mind. I can kind of envision in my head what I want it to look like, and then I just try to figure out how to make that happen, and this time it's working out just how I had it in my head. Okay, now I'm going to go really dark around the edge. And that was a little green. Oh, well, that's all right. I'll go over it with another darker blue. It actually adds some interest, so I think I'll leave it. Sometimes happy accidents. You remember Bob Ross, the painter, used to say, oh, it was a happy little accident. And sometimes that's really true. Something that you think is a mistake turns out to make your artwork really, really cool. I'm showing my age by referencing Bob Ross. Some of you might not even know who he is. Happy little trees and happy little accidents. Oh, I love that blue. See, that turned out really cool. And I think I'll just put a teeny tiny bit of the really dark that I intended just on those edge corners, because I love that green blue. It turned out really pretty. So this is going to make a beautiful, beautiful background for my mushroom houses and the Madame Butterfly paper dolls. This is going to be so pretty. I love it. Oh yeah. Yeah, see, look how pretty that is. Oh, love it. Love it. So here's what it looks like completed, and I absolutely love it. That's exactly what I had in mind. Perfect. So now I'm going to lay out my die cuts and houses and things that I made, and lay this out and get it going. Art journaling is just the best therapy ever. You can have a terrible day. For me, when I'm having a lot of physical pain, or maybe you're having just a really poopy day and everything's getting on your nerves, go grab your art journal and play around in your art journal, because I'll tell you what, it does change everything. It changes your mood. It changes your outlook. If you're focusing on creating something, you can't be focused on being unhappy or being in pain or having a bad day. So grab that art journal and play, because It is just the best therapy in the world, in my opinion. So I'm laying these guys out and trying to decide where I want everybody to go, everything to go. I think I might have to move that so that I can add her over here somewhere. So I'm going to just get these laid out the way that I want them, and then these little paper ones, I'm going to just trim those out and figure out where they're going to go, because they're going to get Mod Podged down. And so laying them out, figuring them out, and then gluing them down. And on your paper dolls with movable things, of course, you'd only want to glue it down in the center where it doesn't impede the movement. So I will get this laid out and come back and show you my next plan. So I've got this all laid out, and I had to move my little chimney from this mushroom to that mushroom to make this work the way I want it. And this one's going to go here, leaving her enough room to still close the book. And this one up here, I love that. And so now what I'm going to do, my idea is I want to do some more details in the back. So I'm going to just take my pencil and I'm going to draw kind of some little hilly knolls where these houses are sitting and resting on some hilly knolls. Okay, now I can remove these. I know how I want them. And I'm going to come down here and paint those little knolls in, add a whole bunch of painting in the background, just do some fun painting of ferns and leaves and flowers and some brush and stuff, and then add those houses back on top again. So for this part down here, I'm going to use this big brush. It's just a Waverly brush for doing wall stenciling. Really, really inexpensive, from the craft store or a Walmart or someplace. And I'm just going to pick up some paint and come in, and where I made those marks, I'm going to come in and just stencil, do like a stencil padding of the ground where the mushroom houses are going to sit. Nothing too fancy, just making a little bit of ground. Then I come back in with a second color and do some more and see how it starts to really look like a grassy little mounds of moss or something on the ground. Using a couple different colors of paint, some light paint, some dark paint, is really what's going to make your little ground mounds here look dimensional, because if you just use one green, it's going to look really flat. So you need some light, some dark. That's what makes shadows and light hitting grass, and that's what's really going to make it stand out and pop and look fun and interesting. So be sure that you use more than one color of green when you're doing grass or little foliage areas like that. Now it's fun to go in and add some grass to it too, and I'm using Arteza brush pens in 3 different colors of green, and it's super easy. These are nice brush pens that just have a really nice brush tip, and you can just come in here and just flick in some grass. So see how easy that is with these brush pens. These things are not expensive at all, and man, I just love them. They are water soluble, so you can't go over this with any type of a wet medium. Like you couldn't Mod Podge over this unless you spray a fixative, but look at how quick and easy it is to make some grass. The same as before, use a few different colors of the pen so that your grass has different tones to it. And then I just took it and kind of just pulled upwards, and I made some stems because I'm going to throw in some flowers. So I just made some long stems, and I'm not even worried about where the houses are going to go. I know that I need this kind of filler in here, and so if some of it gets covered up, that's okay. It'll be nice background filler. So you can come back in with a brush pen. This is a really fun tip. So if you have a brush marker like this is an Ecoline brush pen. You can come in here and make leaves on a stem by just putting that point down, press down, lift up, and then add a little tip to the end. So you make a really cute little leaf. So you just kind of do a press and lift, and you can leave them round like that, Or if you want that little leaf point, then just with the tip of it, add the leaf point. So you can come in here and do a whole bunch of little leaves on some of the stems. Really easy and quick, and look at how pretty that is. So it's just, I used to teach a fun class, gosh, years and years ago, about just using brush markers and making all different kinds of flowers and leaves and different things like this for doing scrapbooking, and now I'm applying it to my art journals. So look how neat that is. Pretty, fills up the space, quick and easy. So if you want to do some longer leaves, these kind of bled out a little bit because it got a little, pen got a little too juicy, but I like it because it looks nature-like. When you're doing that same technique and you push down, when you lift up, kind of give it a pull. So just do a little flick of your wrist and you end up with a whole different leaf. See, like that. So you can make really controlled little leaves, or you can make long spiky leaves like that. Now I'm going to do some flowers the same way. Here's another Ecoline pen, and you can just come in and do those little, push the point down and make these little flowers. Look how easy you can make flowers. You just kind of push and then it squishes down that brush tip, and look at that cute flower. So I'm going to go ahead and do some of those on this background on these stems. And I'm going to leave the centers until I get everything glued down, because I want to do Nuvo drops in the centers to make dimension on the flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and put my images back into place and glue them down. And I'm just going to glue them down with some art glitter glue. So here's what it's looking like so far with those glued into places. My little mushroom houses, the girl sitting on the mushroom, the Madam Butterfly, and the Madam Butterfly flying in the air. My textured mushroom, and then this one in the middle here. And what I'm going to do now, this image that was the example of how to put it together, I love her. She's cute and tiny. She's a carbon copy of this version because she's the example, but I'm going to just go ahead and bend her little wingies up like this so it makes a shape like that. That's going to make her kind of dimensional, and I'm going to stick her over here so it's like another fairy flying. So all you have to do is put glue down that body, just down that center part like that, and when you glue it down just in the center, the wings will be popped up and it makes it dimensional on the page. And then I can come back in with a Tombow mono drawing pen, and I can draw in some cute little antennas, the same as what I made out of wire on the other ones. I can just make with pen right on the little page. So she's got the same antenna. And then you can do the same thing with the double butterfly sets. So I cut out two that are exactly alike. I folded one that same way, folding it down each side of the body, and then when you fold it, it makes that cute little line, cute little space. And I'm going to glue that one to this one, and then glue it to the page. And then when the wings are popped up, the one that's behind it's going to show, and that's going to be a gorgeous dimensional butterfly on my page. So the bottom one gets glued down flat, and then the top one gets glued just in the center, and then look what it looks like when it's on the page. It's very cute and dimensional, and I just drew on some antenna. So I'm going to add some more of those butterflies around this page from the set. Okay, so I've glued down my mushrooms, my little die cut mushrooms, and I added some grass around the base of them so they all kind of tie in, a little grass up next to the houses. And now what I want to do is I'm going to add some more flowers, and I'm going to do them in white. I thought maybe some white flowers might just really pop on the page. So I'm going to take 3 Q-tips and just bunch them together like this into kind of a little triangle, and I'm going to pick up some white gesso on the end of the Q-tips, and then you kind of want to dab it off just a little bit. Then I'm going to come in here and just make some little white flower bunches. And they're kind of just nondescript flowers. You know, that's the fun thing about nature. You can design flowers and they don't have to be totally real. These are going to kind of look a little bit like little hollyhocks, white hollyhocks. I'll put them down in the shape of a stalk. Just a couple here and there, just to add some more interest to the page. So I really like those. Those are super cute. And they've got a lot of nice texture because they're gesso. So I'm going to let them dry, which will take a little bit of time. And before I have to sit this back and let it dry, I think I'll go ahead and add my flower centers with my Nuvo drops. I'm going to use this orange one. It is called Ripened Pumpkin. And I'll be real careful not to touch my little gessoed flowers. You could use a heat tool and dry those if you wanted to. I'm going to let it air dry because I got to let the Nuvo drops air dry. I think the Nuvo's drops are going to just make some really cute centers on these flowers. Nuvo drops are dimensional. They make a nice little bubbled up drop. Let's move this wing out of the way here. So on flowers, it's super fun to add those because it'll make them look like real flowers. See how that looks? That's cute. So I'm going to let that dry and let those white gesso flowers dry, and then I will come back and do a little bit more. Now I'm going to take a fine point Uniposca paint pen in an orange, and I'm going to go back into where these flowers were that I dabbed on with gesso. And in the middle of each little section, I'm just making a little dot, and that's just kind of to make a little center-like thing on them. They look super cute. Now I apologize for that noise in the background. That little jing 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 bell is my little dog. I adopted him in January after my dog passed away, and he's 2 years old, but he's only about 4 pounds, and he has a little cat bell around his neck so that I know where he's at and that I don't trip over him. And he loves to play with his toys, and while I'm making the videos, I notice on playback that you can hear him jingling along. So I hope that doesn't bother anybody. It's just my little dog having fun. Now I'm just going back through and I'm kind of just making like a stem on those little flowers, kind of like a center little stem. Boy, he's really playing today. He loves his toys. And I'm going to just scratch in some silly little leaves. Just some long, different kinds. Squeak, squeak. Okay, that's cute. Like it. Now for some depth, I'm going to just take some charcoal pencil and go around some areas around the mushrooms and just put some charcoal pencil. Use my little scrubber brush. Just scrub it out. Make some nice little dark shadows behind those mushrooms. See how that looks? Now I'm going to decorate the Madame Butterflies a little bit, and I'm going to use some Spectrum Noir. This is their glitter ink. I love this stuff, and a paintbrush. You kind of just shake up the bottle. It's got a little ball bearing in it, and then you just dip your brush in it. And then I'm going to just brush this on in brush strokes on these wings. And I'll hold it up and show you what that looks like, and oh, it's just going to make these wings just totally pop. See if you can see that. Look at the sparkle. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to glue on some little flat back gems, and the last thing I added to my page were the words, "Fairies dance upon a breeze. You'll miss them if you blink or sneeze." I just thought having those cute little whimsical saying in there would make this page just really come together. So here's the completed page. What I ended up doing with the Madame Butterflies is I put flat back gems on them, the glitter ink, some sparkling Nuvo drops, the wire antenna, some tulle under her skirt, which looks really cute and dimensional. And same thing with these. I added some flat back little gems. Look how sparkly and pretty that is. And some Nuvo drops and some glitter ink. And same with this one too. So that's how I decorated the Madame Butterflies. And I did a little more doodling and shading, and so now my page is done. I hope you had fun. I really enjoyed this. The Madame Butterfly paper dolls are just darling. I will put a link in the description box below for the Etsy shop that carries this set. And I hope maybe you learned a technique that you haven't tried, maybe a mixed media technique or something you haven't seen before. And this maybe gave you some inspiration to try something different and fun in your art journal. It's always fun to add a paper doll to your art journal. So thanks for stopping by at Twisted Art Designs, and go make art, because art soothes the heart.